Welcome back to the Blue Review on a really good Monday for the Dodgers. It was a strong weekend at Yankee Stadium. We'll get into all of that. Thank you, Marcas Grant, who's always here. Parker Bell is on. He's on assignment with the Rams Media Day, so he's not going to be here today. But real fast, the Blue Review is presented by LAX at Los Angeles International Airport. Changes are arriving daily to reduce traffic, save guest time, and transform the travel experience. Info at flylax.com/transforminglax. And just a little programming note, we're on Hurley watch for the Lakers. If Dan Hurley makes a decision, Marcus, we will leave the Blue Review and go directly to Travis and Sliwa. It just depends on when it happens. We're going to try and get through the whole Blue Review, but if it breaks, we will split in with Travis and Sliwa, and that will be the end of it. All right. So to the baseball, Marcus, that was a pretty solid weekend, wasn't it?
That was an outstanding weekend. Absolutely. What if I told you the Dodgers would go into Yankee Stadium, win 2 out of 3, have a strong chance to sweep, and Evan Phillips doesn't throw a single inning? That was kind of amazing.
I didn't even think about that. I forgot about the Evan Phillips part of all that.
That's remember because they burned him on Thursday against the Pirates in that final game meaninglessly. And then, obviously they couldn't use him on Friday because they had already burned him. Then Saturday ends up being a one-sided affair. And then obviously they lose on Sunday. They have a great weekend. I mean, they win 2 out of 3, have a very real chance to get a sweep minus 2 bad pitches, right? 1 to Grisham, 1 to Judge. They get 2 out of 3, though, against the first place Yankees. They look great. It was, I think, everything any Dodger fan could have asked for this weekend.
No, absolutely. And I would say the one to Cabrera was a bad pitch as well. But they were right there. They had multiple chances. And so let's get to yesterday's game in just a second. But to me, all 3 games were so different. And all 3 games were extremely exciting. It was ones that I had to sit and watch no matter what, just because it was Yankees Dodgers, I was going to watch anyway. But the fact is, we got a pitching duel that went into the 11th inning, 0-0 on Friday, a blast of where it was like 11-3 on Saturday, and then a really close, tight game where in the top of the 9th, the Dodgers had 2 on, 2 out, and a chance to win with Mookie Betts or take the lead with Mookie Betts up to the plate. It was just a fantastic weekend of baseball. One of the best series I've watched since maybe 2-3 years ago against the Padres when it was real tight and the early season matchup. They were really exciting games. I don't know if you've seen one like regular season wise that exciting in a while.
No, it's been a long time. And what I loved, I mean, obviously winning 2 out of 3 was great, but I think more than that was sort of the way they went about business. You didn't see guys giving up at bats, right? Like everybody seemed locked in. Defensively, still a little bit shaky. That seems to be kind of a theme now with this team. But, for the most part, they were really, really focused. The pitching, which has been pretty good for a long while now, continued to be good. I mean, Yamamoto was dealing absolutely on Friday. Gavin Stone was solid in his outing on Saturday. Glasnow, had a little bit of it's weird. He finally got run support, and then he was kind of rocky on his side of things. But it really was. This was the team, and I sort of alluded to this on Friday, right? That I just had a feeling or a hope, whatever you want to call it, that knowing who the competition was, this team was going to lock in and focus. I didn't know what the outcome would be, but I think we saw that when the stakes were up in a big situation, in a very tough place to play, this team really showed up in a big way, and we saw how good this Dodger team could be when everybody is on the same page.
So now you're right. And when they're all on the same page, you can tell how much better they are. But also, they seem to play up and down to their opponent, like we were talking about before last week as well. It's like when they get to teams like New York and Atlanta, they play at a higher level. When they're playing teams like Colorado and Cincinnati and the Nationals, they tend to drop games because it's almost like they just don't really care. And I mean that's not the way it should be, and it very well can't be that way. But the fact is, they are, when they're playing good teams, they step up and they play at a much higher level. So that's what I just love seeing all that. You talked about all the other guys. Like Yoshi Yamamoto was phenomenal on Friday. That was one of the best outings and probably the best outing I've seen out of him this season. Gavin Stone pitched really, really well and is kind of solidifying him in that 3 spot. And Glasnow, Glasnow was good. but he gave up a couple jacks. It seems like he is home run. You can get a jack off of him. You can hit home runs off of him, and I think that's something that he has to kind of work on when we get down the stretch. But can we talk about the biggest guy that was out there? Teoscar Hernandez was
have yourself
phenomenal.
Have a weekend, Teoscar. I mean, he was in the middle of literally everything, right? I mean, the big hit in the 11th inning on Friday, the 2 home runs, including the grand slam on Saturday, another home run on Sunday. I mean, he really was the leader of the offense. I mean, it's understandably all the national broadcasts spent the weekend talking about Shohei and Mookie and Freddie, but really it was Teoscar Hernandez who was the thorn in the side of the Yankees. I am sure Yankee fans are glad to see him get out of town after what he did to them this weekend.
Yeah, it felt like every time he came up, he was going to do something. Hit a home run, hit a double, get on base in some sense. He just was completely locked in. It was really nice to see that. And, you can't be upset about much of anything. The only thing, and I don't know, we can talk about this a little bit now, Marcus, is that yesterday there was one thing that I'm not too happy about, and I put it out on Twitter, and people were like killing me. Oh, it was a good bunt. Kike Hernandez bunt in the top of the 8th inning. You had first and second, nobody out. Kike Hernandez comes up. The first bunt he does is popped up into the air. Trevino just couldn't get to it. He kind of tripped over Kike. Whatever happened, he didn't get there. He then bunts again, and he bunts up the third baseline.
Yeah.
He got it a little bit far out, so it was a close play at third. If Pages got his foot down, totally get it. It would have been safe, but he left his foot flying in the air. It still was not a good bunt to me. I didn't like the fact that it was up the third base side. If you're trying to punt for a hit, go third base. If you're trying to move guys over, go first base. This just shows me more and more why the Dodgers and a lot of other teams don't bunt in general.
So, yeah, I mean, you're right. If you're going to move the runner over, that has to go to first base. So, at least if the catcher, fields it, he's going away from third, or presumably even better, you make the pitcher have to field that ball and then have to wheel around and throw. So in that respect, it was not. I'm at a point though, like, no one bunts anymore. And I don't know, I mean, we could have a whole big philosophical discussion on why this is. Is it just because everybody became so enamored, with swinging away and hitting the long ball and trying to, hit for extra bases? I guess the analytics suggest that giving up and out when you only have 27 of them isn't necessarily the wisest strategy. So because of that, teams have stopped bunting. And now, because no one does bunt, no one can bunt. I think there are moments, and those moments are admittedly few and far between, where it is still a sound strategy. And had it worked well, it would have been great. I go back to the Chris Taylor bunt from a couple of weeks ago. That
was a bad bunt too.
It was not a good bunt. It was an objectively terrible bunt. It worked. It got the job done, but it was an objectively terrible bunt. But I think this is sort of what it is. And I know that, fans are always like, why aren't they bunting more? Case in point, those 2 bunts we just mentioned are reasons why they aren't bunting. And at this point in the evolution of the game, no one's going to spend that kind of time working on bunting when it's something you might do 10 times all season long.
Yeah, they were talking about it on the broadcast that was the first bunt since 2018 for Kike Hernandez in a regular season game. Like, so that's 6 years we're talking about.
That's wild.
6 years since his last bunt in a game in the regular season. It's just insanity to me. So yeah, we can go on and on about bunting, but I did not like the bunt. I didn't think it was important. They should have done it there. If anybody was going to do it, it would be somebody at the bottom of the lineup with nobody outs and 2 on. That's the right time to do it. However, if the guys don't know how to do it, then you shouldn't do it.
I'm trying to think who. I mean, Kike is a prime candidate. I don't know. Can Gavin Lux bunt? I mean, honestly, it is probably a weapon that Lux should consider adding to his game. I mean, being a left-handed hitter with decent speed, why not learn how to drag a bunt that, look, here's the thing about bunting. I know we didn't mean to talk about bunting, but now that we're here, I'm just going to dive into this.
Thank you.
It's the kind of thing where if you can do it effectively, you don't have to do it all the time. You can do it once every so often, just enough so that the defense has to at least think about it. So that's why I'm like, if you're Gavin Lux, why not every once in a while learn to drag a bunt up the first base line or push bunt toward third base, just so that at least defensively they have to at least respect it, right? Like, you might only do it once a month, even less, but as long as they know that it's there, that helps, I think, open up some holes on the other parts of the infield, especially for a guy that's still struggling to get his swing back. That's all I got.
Yeah, no, look, if Gavin Bunt, we can call him Gavin Bunt from now on. If Gavin Lux learns to actually bunt and has that drag, that'd be great. Look, I'm not opposed to bunting in general. I'm opposed to guys not knowing how to bunt. Look, this isn't the Brett Butler days anymore. He was amazing at it.
Yeah.
You know, he was somebody that Mike Sweeney was a guy that could just drop a bunt and get to first base. That was fantastic. These guys just don't know how and do not do it. And here comes Beto, who was actually at Yankee Stadium this weekend. What's up, Beto? That one there. You got the right one this time.
What's going on, man? What's going on, Beto? I heard you were in the Bronx this weekend, huh?
Yeah, I was a little Bronx cheer out there for all the Yankee fans that left in the 8th inning. I was there Saturday night.
That was the best night to be there.
Oh, you went to Saturday?
I went to Saturday's game. So I was in upstate New York doing a fight. And decided last minute to just jump on a plane and go. Actually, we jumped on a train because the plane was so expensive. Went to Saturday night game, bought tickets last minute. I'll tell the story on Travis and Slee starting at 10 o'clock. But let me tell you this, Marcus. We've all been to World Series games, members of the media. If there's a Dodger-Yankee game, I will find a way to pay my way to New York to see a World Series game. And I don't pay for anything. That's how crazy and electric it was. Saturday night felt out of control, felt cool. Teoscar Hernandez, star. Trent Grisham hits a home run. Like when the guys who shouldn't be doing anything are doing big things in big games, that's, you know, it's a great weekend. And shout out to all the Dodger fans that made the trip out there, spent all their money, not going to pay their rent this month, but it's cool because you had to go see that kind of
Did you walk in with Pantone 294 when that massive amount of people were going on the street?
All right, let me,
did you see it at all?
I was so let's see. The game started at 7. I was at the bars outside Yankee Stadium by 3 because everybody was told that the streets are going to get crazy. It was a sold out game. And also, if you've ever been to a Yankee game in the Bronx, they close the streets down anyway. So everybody's like, oh, the Dodger fans shut it down. No, the streets are blocked no matter what. So you could drink out on the streets. But all the Dodger fans made that trek out there. It was cool. I was at a bar called Billy's, and it just all Dodger fans taking over. I shout out to the Dodger fans that came up to me and said, hey, man, I listened to you at 710. You guys did a good job.
Oh, wow.
A lot of LA fans out there, a lot of people that were Dodger fans that live in, say, Atlanta now. Met a few people that live in Texas, some from Arizona, and it was great to be out there. I've never understood what Dodgers Yankees is on the East Coast because, you know, when you do it in LA, there's a lot of Yankee transplants that come and show up and like, oh, LA sucks, but I love living here for the last 30 years. What up, Billy Crystal? But in New York, you know, we sat behind some finance bros. The Chads and the Connors who were telling us about going to the Hamptons for the weekends and how much Dodgers.
Chads and the Connors.
No, that was their name. That was their name. Because I asked for their names, right? I was expecting a Taylor or a Tyler. Nah, we got Chad and Connor behind us, and they were like, "Oh, you know how much these tickets cost normally?" And I'm like, "Because I paid $200 for my ticket, left field foul pole. It would be like the Loge level at Dodger Stadium. Okay, left field foul pole. He's like, normally this is a $75 ticket, but because of you guys, it's all up." And I'm like, "Well."
Same thing when you come to LA.
Right.
Yeah.
Yankees, Dodgers push prices up. That's just how that works.
So it was a lot of Dodger fans. It was super loud. And I'll say it right here on the Blue Review. So I had a couple pops in me. I wasn't working. And when Vesia came in, I turned to the finance bros. I'm like, here comes the run. Vesia sucks. I said that loud, and Vesia shut me up. No. So apologies to Alex Vesia. I apologize, mea culpa. Just keep on doing it. But good thing Vesia only faced one batter.
Hey, you sent me a picture of Vesia at that exact same time, and I was like, "Look, he's been great. I have nothing bad to say about Alex Vesia more. He's been possibly the best reliever the Dodgers have, and probably the best.
Yes, but I wasn't expecting him to get the job done in that
with the bases loaded.
Yeah, I was actually on my way to a party, so I was in an Uber listening to it when that moment happened, and I was almost like, we were almost there, and I was going to tell the driver just like, hey, just stop so I can just hear what happens in this at bat before I get out of the car. And fortunately, he got the pop up right as we were pulling up to the destination, and I spent the rest of the party like sitting in the corner on my phone checking the scores and stuff.
Well, I mean, you saw it, Marcus, in the group chat. I actually called for Vesia to come into the game on Friday, and you didn't believe it. I put it on Twitter too.
I screenshotted it.
We're like, if you're a new Dodger fan this year, and Vesia's doing well, but if you've seen this movie before, and it's like, okay, how much longer can you get away with this. I'll just tell this, Marcus. When you're watching Glasnow pitch for Sunday Night Baseball, it's like, damn, that guy's a stud, right? Everybody, when they played this weekend, looked like a stud. It felt electric. It felt out of control. And it just felt like, wow, I've never seen this. Dodgers Yankees, I've only heard it from the old-time baseball writers, like, oh, you guys, blah, blah, blah. This was crazy electric, and I'm glad I went, man. It was awesome.
It felt good.
I was gonna say, no, it sounded awesome. It's funny too, because you talk about all the people, all the Dodger fans showing up there. It, in football, whether it's pro football, college football, especially, you always circle those trips that you want to take. Like, I'm gonna go and watch this game. Like, you don't really do that with baseball so much, but this felt like one of those where as soon as it showed up on the calendar, and knowing Ohtani was playing for the Dodgers, knowing that they got Aaron Judge and Juan Soto on the other side, this felt like one of those rare baseball trips where fans are like, yeah, I gotta be there. I gotta see one of these games.
That was, I think the last time they played was 2016. So in Yankee Stadium.
So
that was cool to see. But I'll tell you this though, on the train, I've gone to Yankee Stadium a bunch of times. This is the first time I've ever been on a train or subway going to Yankee Stadium where I saw visiting team gear, and I was like, wow, there was a lot of Dodger fans because like the guys I went with are Dodger fans. And I'm like, oh man, we're gonna get harassed a little bit. Nah. As soon as we exited at 161st, you hear, let's go Dodgers, like, and you hear the Yankee fans, shut up, boo! But they were drowned out.
It sounded like Yankee fans were taken by surprise at how many Dodger fans showed up there this weekend.
Yes.
Well, that's the whole Pantone thing, how they just they flood places when they go. But it was all weekend though. Yeah. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that there were Dodger fans. They were loud the whole time. It was just nice to see that they were traveling.
It was nice to see Teoscar get a bomb too, bro.
Multiple. He was great.
And here, since I'm hijacking the show, hey, what about your uncle out there in left field that had the Dodger skunk hat on, right? And then had a glove and it went off him, that bomb that Judge hit off of him. How are you going to take a glove, sit front row, and not catch the ball?
Totally miss it.
Yeah, he's gonna wear that one for the rest of his life. Like, he's gonna wear it forever.
And they showed it because it went to replay on Saturday, and they showed it in the stadium. And you talk about a guy felt really bad, and everybody booed him, both Dodger and Yankee fans, because they're like, you're front row, you're a grown man, and you miss.
Yeah, and first of all, you're a grown man and you have a glove. So if you have a glove, you better not miss. If you have a glove in your hand, that's it.
That's another story.
Yeah,
but yeah. All right, Marcus, thanks for letting me hijack. Good seeing you.
Hey, always good to see you, man.
All right, I'm on a 10-1.
Thanks, Beto. Right. Yeah, you can get Beto on Travis and Sliwa every Monday for Mondays with Beto, thanks to Northgate. Yeah, it was a great one. I kind of wanted to ask you about Luis. Is it Heel? Is that how you say it? Luis Heel? Yeah, he was really, really good. And also, like, the Dodgers kind of got to him a little bit, so it was nice to see. But what did you think about Luis Heel?
I thought he looked great. I mean, I thought he kept them off balance. He really, didn't really allow them much. You're right. They eventually kind of figured him out a little bit and started to get some hits off of him. But early on, he looked great. I'll tell you this, and I think you missed the day after Paul Skeens' pitch. I think you were.
I was.
Anyway,
memorized.
But the point is, I would, if I were to compare them at this moment, I think Heel has a longer career in him than Skeens does, only because it feels like Heel is more of a pitcher right now. Skeens is a fireballer, and I don't know if the arm withstands the kind of stress he's going to put on it over the long term, where it feels like Luis Heel can sort of adjust. He can change speeds. He can use all parts of the plate, all parts of the strike zone, and get outs that way. Now, look, 5 years from now, I might be singing a different tune, but having seen both of them now in the space of a few days apart, I think Heel has a much more promising future than Skeens at the moment.
No, I totally agree with you. Paul Skeens has Tommy John written all over his arm. He actually drew it on. He wrote it. He wrote Tommy John incoming on his arm because that's what's going to happen. You can't throw 103 miles an hour consistently like that and not have your elbow blow up. It's just not possible. So it's with that much movement too. So either way, Luis Heel is a guy that Yankees are going to love for years because he just had complete command of the plate and he had complete control of every one of his pitches. He never seemed off balance. He didn't care who was up to the plate. He had that in him that you don't see out of a lot of guys. I saw it a little bit on Saturday as well from Gavin Stone. Gavin Stone is a totally different guy than he was last year. I feel like they're similar in the fact that he goes out there. It doesn't matter who's at the plate. he is just going to push, and he's going to make sure that he gets the guys out that he needs to get out. I mean, he doesn't give up a lot of runs. He gives them more than he usually does, which is not saying a lot because he usually gives up one. So
right, exactly.
Anything more, and you're like, whoa, Gavin, you okay? Everything all right?
Yeah.
So, but I thought he was fantastic.
No, same. Weird thing about this, and I don't know if it was the adrenaline of playing in this series at Yankee Stadium, or if maybe the radar gun at Yankee Stadium is a little bit wonky. Everybody seemed to have an extra couple miles an hour on their fastball. Yamamoto did, Stone did. Glass now we already know that he can push a little bit as well, but it just seemed like everybody had a little bit extra. So I don't know if it was just the, hey, look, we're here, this is a huge series, and everybody was just a little bit more amped up, or if they've turned up the gun at the stadium to make their guys look better. I have no idea.
I just Joe and Oral on Friday just kept saying over and over again, like, that's the fastest pitch he's ever thrown this season.
Right.
That's the fastest pitch he's thrown in his lifetime. That's the fastest pitch of this regular season. It's like, I mean, something's going on there. Maybe it is the whole Yankee Stadium thing, but I don't know, man. Like, they might have ticked it up a little bit for TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, something was, but whatever. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was great. And to Beto's point, it felt like October baseball. I mean, that Friday night game, going to extra innings, scoreless, felt like October baseball. Even going to the bottom of the 11th, the Dodgers are up 2-0. Judge hits the RBI single, which you and I were both like, hey, look, if that's all it is, I can live with that.
The guy hit like 7 home runs this week, and it felt like.
Man. And I don't know that the last one has come down. I think that ball's still in the air somewhere. He destroyed that pitch.
It was completely blasted.
It was, but it was literally a playoff atmosphere all weekend long there. And so, I know the networks want to pump this up as a potential World Series preview. We're a long ways away from that, but man, if this is how this Dodger team is going to show up in big series in October, then I am absolutely here for it.
So the one last thing to get to before we get going and get to Travis and Sliwa, who are waiting very patiently, as we all are waiting patiently for Dan Hurley to make a decision. But the one thing, you were very upset about something on Friday night, and it was in the Apple broadcast. I was watching the Sportsnet broadcast, but on the Apple broadcast, they were talking to Kike Hernandez. I'll just let you take it from there.
Well,
go ahead.
Look, it's just, and I've seen this on the Apple broadcast. I saw it last night on ESPN's broadcast. Like, talking to players in game, like, stop it. It's uncomfortable. It's awkward. I don't know that that's the reason Kike made an error on Friday night. I mean, defensively, he's kind of been a circus over there anyway, but it's just, I don't think anybody is asking for it. And we've even seen it, like, for everybody who's new to the WNBA, like, they're doing it, they're interviewing coaches while play is going on. I don't understand why. It adds absolutely nothing to the broadcast. If anything, I get secondhand embarrassment and I feel cringy and I just mute the broadcast while it's happening. I hate it. I want it to die. I want it to die an awful, awful death.
I'm totally with you. I just don't need it anymore. You know what I also don't need? I don't need you talking to guys in the dugout like they did on Friday for the Fox broadcast. Like, if they have no personality. They talked to Garrett Cole, and they talked to Garrett Cole for like 5 minutes because they're like, this is like, you're giving us nothing whatsoever. Let's just get out of it. After like 1 out, they're like, all right, thanks a lot, Garrett.
Thanks for your time.
I appreciate your time.
I mean, it works. It works for Sportsnet. They have Clayton Kershaw on because, like, Joe and Oral and Clayton, they know each other so well, and they chat. Like, it feels a little more natural, a little more fun. But you're right. I mean, it very rarely do these add anything to the game. Let's just let them play the game, and then we can talk to the guys afterwards, and like they can tell us, what went on during the game.
Sure, I don't mind it if the guys have personality. If you're going to talk to Teoscar in the middle of the game, I get it. Like sitting in the dugout, totally get it. If you're talking to Kershaw has a personality. There's certain guys I'm fine with, but if you don't have any personality whatsoever, just cut it. Don't just for the name. I don't need the name. I want actually entertainment if you're going to do an entertainment thing. Yep. All right, but that's it. We got to get going over to Travis and Sliwa, waiting very patiently. I just want Dan Hurley to make a decision finally. But that's coming up next. Thank you, Marcus. Huge weekend for the Dodgers to take 2 out of 3 at Yankee Stadium. We'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 and 9:55. Marcus will not, but Clint Pasillas, real FRG from Dodgers territory, will be joining us.
That Ryan Gosling showing up, huh? Yeah.
That fat Ryan Gosling is showing up tomorrow with Parker Bell. All right, thank you guys. Thank you to LAX, and we'll see you